The colony of Eden's Rest was a beacon of humanity's ambition, a thriving world on the edge of explored space. It was more than just a settlement. It was a symbol of hope, a testament to humanity's ability to thrive even in the harshest conditions. Towering cities stretched into the sky, their lights visible from orbit, while vast farmlands and research facilities dotted the surface. Families built lives here, children played in the parks, and scientists worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of the universe. Eden's Rest was not just a colony. It was home to millions. But in a single horrifying moment, it became a graveyard. The attack came without warning. The Krylos, a ruthless alien species, descended upon the colony like a swarm of locusts. Their ships, sleek and menacing, tore through the orbital defenses with terrifying efficiency. The sky above Eden's Rest turned red as plasma rained down, reducing cities to ash and vaporizing entire populations in seconds. The colony's military forces, though brave, were hopelessly outmatched. Communications were jammed, escape routes cut off, and within hours, the once vibrant world was reduced to smoldering ruins. Among the chaos, a child clung to their parents' hand, watching in silent horror as their world burned around them. That image, captured by a dying soldier's helmet cam, would soon ignite a firestorm across humanity. News of the destruction spread like wildfire. From Earth to the farthest colonies, humanity was united in grief and rage. Eden's Rest was not just a loss of life. It was an attack on everything humanity stood for. Protests erupted in the streets, demanding justice. Leaders from every nation and faction convened in an emergency summit, their faces grim as they reviewed the footage of the attack. The Krylos had made their intentions clear. Humanity was to be eradicated, but humanity was not so easily broken. In a historic moment of unity, the leaders of Earth and its colonies made a decision that would echo through the stars. They would not cower. They would not negotiate. They would fight back with everything they had. The announcement was broadcast across all human territories. 700,000 warships would be built and deployed, the largest military mobilization in human history. Every shipyard, every factory, every resource was dedicated to this singular purpose. The message was clear. Humanity would not be erased. This was not just about revenge. It was about survival. The destruction of Eden's Rest was a tragedy, but it was also a catalyst. It awakened something primal in humanity, a determination to protect what was theirs and ensure that no one would ever suffer such a fate again. As the first ships began to roll off the assembly lines, the galaxy would soon learn the true meaning of humanity's wrath. The call to arms echoed across every corner of human space. From the bustling megacities of Earth to the remote mining outposts on the fringes of the galaxy, humanity answered. Recruitment centers were flooded with volunteers, soldiers, engineers, pilots, and civilians alike, all driven by a shared purpose. Factories that once produced luxury goods now churned out weapons and armor. Shipyards, once silent, roared to life as the skeletal frames of warships took shape under the hands of countless workers. The scale of the mobilization was unprecedented, a testament to humanity's ability to unite in the face of annihilation. Every resource, every mind, every ounce of determination was poured into the effort. This was not just a war. It was a declaration of survival. The warships themselves were marvels of human ingenuity. Each vessel was a blend of cutting-edge technology and raw firepower, designed to strike fear into the hearts of the Krylos. The Eden's Vengeance, the flagship of the fleet, stood as a symbol of humanity's resolve. Its sleek, angular design was both beautiful and terrifying, its hull bristling with weapons and shielded by energy fields that could withstand the most devastating attacks. But it was not alone. Hundreds of thousands of ships, from nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts, filled the void around Earth. Each one bore the scars of humanity's determination, their hulls emblazoned with the names of fallen colonies and the faces of those who had been lost. Together, they formed an armada unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The crews of these ships were as diverse as the worlds they came from. Among them was Lieutenant Karavas, a pilot who had lost her family on Eden's Rest. Her hands trembled as she gripped the controls of her fighter, not from fear, but from the burning need to make the Krylos pay. Beside her was Engineer Raj Patel, who had left his newborn child behind to ensure the fleet's engines would never fail. And then there was Admiral Marcus Hale, a veteran of countless battles, whose steely gaze at the weight of the responsibility he carried. These were not just soldiers. They were fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters, bound together by a shared purpose. Their stories were as varied as their backgrounds, but their resolve was the same. They would fight not just for themselves, but for the future of humanity. As the final preparations were completed, the fleet assembled in orbit around Earth. 700,000 ships stretched as far as the eye could see, their lights flickering like stars against the blackness of space. It was a sight that inspired awe and dread in equal measure. On the bridge of the Eden's Vengeance, Admiral Hale addressed the fleet, his voice carrying the weight of billions. "Today, we stand as one," he began, his words echoing across every ship. "The Krylos thought they could break us. They thought we would cower in fear. But they were wrong. We are humanity. We endure. We rise. And today we fight back." The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the hum of engines as the fleet prepared to jump into hyperspace. In that moment, the galaxy held its breath. Humanity was coming, and its wrath would be unstoppable. The fleet emerged from hyperspace on the edge of Krylos territory, a tidal wave of steel and fire descending upon the unsuspecting enemy. The Krylos, confident in their superiority, had not anticipated such a swift and overwhelming response. Their outposts and patrol ships were caught completely off guard, their defenses crumbling before the sheer force of humanity's assault. The first wave of fighters streaked through the void, their engines blazing as they engaged the enemy. Plasma cannons roared, missiles streaked through the darkness, and the one silent expanse of space became a battlefield. The Krylos scrambled to mount a defense, but it was too late. Humanity had arrived, and they were not here to negotiate. The battle was chaos incarnate. Ships collided in explosions of light and debris, their hulls torn apart by the relentless barrage of weapons. The Eden's Vengeance led the charge, its massive railguns tearing through enemy cruisers like paper. Fighters darted between the larger ships, their pilots executing daring maneuvers to outwit the Krylos' defenses. Lieutenant Kara Voss weaved through the chaos, her fighter a blur of motion as she picked off enemy ships one by one. Each kill was a small victory, a step closer to avenging her family. But the Krylos were not without their own tricks. Hidden among their fleet was a massive superweapon, a planet killer capable of annihilating entire fleets in a single shot. When it was activated, the tide of battle shifted. A blinding beam of energy lanced through the human fleet, vaporizing dozens of ships in an instant. The shockwave sent others spiraling out of control, their crews struggling to regain their bearings. Humanity's resolve was tested in that moment. The loss was staggering, but there was no time to mourn. Admiral Hale quickly devised a plan, a desperate gamble to disable the superweapon and turn the tide. A small strike team, led by Kara and Raj, was tasked with infiltrating the weapon's core and planting a series of explosives. It was a suicide mission, but there was no other choice. The team launched on the Eden's Vengeance, their small shuttle slipping through the chaos unnoticed. The journey to the superweapon was fraught with danger, the shuttle dodging enemy fire and navigating through a maze of debris. When they finally reached their destination, the team fought their way through Krylos' defenders, their determination unwavering. Raj worked tirelessly to plant the explosives, his hands steady despite the chaos around him. Kara covered their retreat, her fighter engaging enemy ships in a desperate bid to buy time. The plan succeeded. The explosives detonated, tearing the superweapon apart from within and sending shockwaves through the Krylos fleet. The enemy, now leaderless and disorganized, began to retreat. Humanity pressed the advantage, their ships advancing with relentless precision. The Krylos' once mighty fleet was reduced to a scattering of broken hulls and drifting debris. As the last of the enemy's ships fled, a cheer erupted across the human fleet. They had won, but the cost was high. The Eden's Vengeance bore the scars of battle, its hull pockmarked with burns and breaches. The fleet's numbers had been diminished, but their spirit remained unbroken. Admiral Hale stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the retreating enemy. "This is not the end," he said, his voice firm. "We will ensure this never happens again." The battle was over, but the war had just begun. The aftermath of the battle was a somber reminder of the cost of victory. The human fleet, though triumphant, bore the scars of war. Ships limped back to friendly space, their hulls battered and their crews weary. The loss of life was staggering, and the void was littered with the remnants of both human and Krylos vessels. But amidst the grief, there was a sense of purpose. Eden's rest had been avenged, and humanity had proven its strength. The fallen were honored in ceremonies across the galaxy, their names etched into memorials that would stand for generations. The colony itself, though in ruins, became a symbol of resilience. Plans for its reconstruction were already underway, a testament to humanity's unyielding spirit. The message was clear. Even in the face of devastation, humanity would rise again. The Krylos, shattered and humiliated, had no choice but to sue for peace. Their once mighty empire was in disarray, their fleets decimated, and their people demoralized. A delegation arrived on Earth, their demeanor a far cry from the arrogance they had once displayed. The terms of surrender were harsh but fair. The Krylos were disarmed completely, their military capabilities dismantled to prevent any future aggression. Reparations were demanded, not in the form of wealth, but in resources and technology to aid in humanity's recovery. Most importantly, the Krylos were made to vow never to attack humanity again, a promise enforced by the presence of human observers within their territory. Some argued for harsher penalties, calling for the complete subjugation of the Krylos. But humanity, though victorious, chose a different path. Mercy, not vengeance, would define their legacy. The war marked the beginning of a new era for humanity. No longer seen as a fledgling species, they were now a dominant force in the galaxy, respected and feared in equal measure. Alliances were forged with other species, many of whom had once viewed humanity with skepticism. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges flourished, and a new sense of unity emerged among the stars. The warships that had once been instruments of destruction were repurposed for exploration and defense, their crews tasked with protecting the peace they had fought so hard to achieve. Humanity's influence spread, not through conquest, but through cooperation and mutual respect. The galaxy, once a place of uncertainty and danger, began to feel a little safer. But the true legacy of the war was not in the alliances or the treaties. It was in the spirit of humanity itself. The destruction of Eden's rest had been a tragedy, but it also awakened something profound. It had shown humanity what they were capable of when united, when driven by a common purpose. The war had tested them, pushed them to their limits, but it had not broken them. Instead, it had forged them into something stronger, something enduring. As the galaxy looked on, humanity stood tall, a beacon of hope and resilience. The final message was clear. We are humanity. We endure. We rise. And we will never fall. The story of Eden's rest and the 700,000 warships will be told for generations, a reminder of what it meant to be human,